Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Jackie Hermans. Now, I want you to know, you're learning a little bit about me with every episode. I love essential oils and I'm into crystals as well. I'm wearing my tiger's eye today. And I thought I'd mention the essential oil that I'm wearing today is vetiver. Now, vetiver, it's a very sappy, really thick type of essential oil, and it's amazing to help you to center and to ground. So if you got that whirling of thoughts going on in your head, or if you're wanting to manifest something, you need to ground down that energy. So focus on what you want and ground it in, and vetiver helps. So today on the show, we'll be talking to two beautiful women from the Durham District School Board, talking about mental health and the different things that they are doing to help students and teachers. Also, Chelsea Gargis, who is a spirit leader at Uxbridge Secondary School. She's going to be on the show talking about her experiences of online learning and what she's been doing to help with her mental health. And then Heather Schwartz will be on the show talking about this beautiful fundraiser that she's doing for the Uxbridge Cottage Hospital. She has created something called a medical passport, and it all came to fruition because of the experiences that she had when her husband needed to go in and out of the hospital during COVID. So you'll be hearing about all that and more, of course, on Uxbridge Scugog Life. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Lynn, host of In Your Business. Join me each week as we follow the journey of entrepreneurs in Durham region. We'll also hear from experts who support businesses and help them grow.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. Now with me on the show, I have two beautiful women from Durham District School Board. So I have Stephanie Pellebor as well as Carolyn Usher. And today we're going to be talking about mental health within the schools and what are they doing to be able to help the teachers, help the students. So ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. I really appreciate it. I have 3 kids myself, and with the shifting back between online and in class and online again, it can be not only disruptive physically, but emotionally and mentally. And so I thought it'd be great to have you ladies on the show. So the first question I have for you is, so if as a parent we notice that our children or our child is having either issues with online learning or they're definitely showing some signs of disruption within their mental health, what are some things that we can do as parents to be able to help support them?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think it's important to remember that you know your child best, right? So you know when their window of tolerance is maybe a little skinnier than usual, and maybe you see increased behavior or some, low motivation. They're a bit more resistant to some of the things. So, and we all know, I think that the online format is less attractive on some days than it is on others, right? So some of the things that you can do, or you can build some more breaks in for your young person, make them short, make them more frequent. It's okay with your child to decide what things you may and may not be able to do this week. Maybe there's some activities that you have to leave off the plate this week for school. Certainly would encourage to build in some mind and body breaks, right? Maybe go out and shoot some hoops for a few minutes, do some jumping jacks, something like that, that just encourages some stress release. If you're comfortable with it, talk to the teacher. so that you can explain to them what may not be getting completed this week, so that they're really clear about the strategies you're putting in place. And if you think that your child needs some more supports, we would encourage you to reach out to your teacher who can connect you with some more formal supports in the board.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. Now, with talking about teens now, so within the high school age children, normally they are starting to pull away from their parents and hang out more with their kids, their friends. And it's really tough to do that, right? When we're on lockdown. And so because they're not getting that time with their friends as they normally would, what can we as parents do to help still support their social interactions?
Yeah, a term we're hearing a lot lately is the social malnutrition that our kids are facing, because our kids are supposed to be kind of with their friends and trying new things out, and as you say, pulling away from us. So some of them are missing activities, and they're missing their friends, and they're missing those places, as one of my workers up here in the north, Cindy, talks about, those places where they shine outside of school, right? So as parents, we can do a few things, right? I think that there's always the opportunity to validate your kids' feelings, your child's feelings, very important. I know it's sad and it's frustrating, and I hear you that you can't do the things you want to do. We can highlight some of the new skills that our children are being able to develop. Maybe it's cooking, maybe they're really handy in the garage with fixing something. We can include them in a lot more things like kitchen prep for dinner, and maybe helping out shopping with for the neighbors or something like that, where we have those opportunities to connect with our young person, where they invite the conversation, where we can, if we can push away what we're doing, so that we can connect in with them and say, sure, yeah, you want to go and shoot some basketball hoops out in the front for a few minutes, we can do that, because that's important. And we're not driving our kids or taking to them as to activities as much as we used to. So creating any of those connections. I also think for parents, don't underestimate the importance of just the small things. It can be a quick connection. And I think one of the other pieces that we're hearing this year is around online, how much our kids are spending on time online with their friends. That's a really important piece, because that is where they're connecting with their friends. But maybe you might want to have a conversation about when it becomes a bit more problematic in terms of, not sleeping, not eating, those kinds of things. And give yourselves a break too. We're all trying to figure it out, right, as parents?
Yeah, definitely. Now, when our kids are in the online classroom, because there's a lot of parents out there, so while their kids are doing their online, parents are doing their online work, and so not necessarily being able to observe how they're doing in the class. Would either of you ladies be able to explain a little bit more of what's happening on the teacher end of things with being aware of what is happening with our kids?
Yeah, I'll answer that one, Jackie. And I think it's a great question, because if you think about the span of a school year, our students spend 1/3 of their day, 2/3 of their years in a classroom. So what is happening with our educators in the classroom? We like to think about our educators as being the eyes, the ears, and the heart of a classroom. They're the ones that notice. They're the ones that listen. And they're the ones that can respond with compassion when they see something that might be going on with their students. Really, I think our educators now more than ever are working hard to create a welcoming, inclusive, respectful classroom where students know that they belong and they matter. And I think that concept is so important in the midst of a pandemic, when we're distant from each other in the kind of connections we're used to. And I think one key way our educators do this is by building caring relationships with their students. And I think when educators spend the time to really get to know students, to see who they really are, and what they really need, who build that supportive presence and intentionally and explicitly build caring relationships with their students, that goes a long way to enhancing a student's sense of wellness and belonging at school. We know this pandemic has shifted the baseline of how students are doing. It has for all of us. And when educators know their students, we're well positioned to observe those changes in thoughts and feelings and behaviors and tune into what those look-fors are. And I think when educators regularly check in, when they open the door for students just to talk and acknowledge that this is challenging, and they notice when students might need additional support. And I think it's so important for educators who let our students know it's okay not to be okay, and that it's okay to ask for help. And then educators become the bridge to connecting those students that may need more support to the supports that are available either in our school board, in our classrooms, or in the community.
Stephanie, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Carolyn. It was wonderful to have you on the show. I'm sure I could easily talk to you for so long. We might have to have you back on the show. So we'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Behold Emily Carr, painter, about to encounter the force that will consume her life.
How tightly they sealed their secrets from me, humble and pleading before the great trees, awaiting the invitation from the Spirit to come meet me halfway. Nothing is still now, everything is alive. At last, I knew I must see through the eye of the totem itself, the mythic eye of the forest.
Seldom able to live by her brush, before she died in 1945, Emily Carr was in the first rank of Canadian painters.
This is my country. What I want to express is here, and I love it. Amen.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. Now with me on the show, I have Chelsea Gargas, who is a spirit leader at the Uxbridge Secondary School. She's also been involved with things like SLAM and Leadership Committee. She's a very active, amazing woman in Uxbridge. And Chelsea, thank you so much for being on the show. I wanted to have you on to be able to talk about what your experiences have been like at school during COVID.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Oh, and I love your Tigers sweatshirt.
Thank you. Yeah, representing Tigers Student Council.
Woohoo! Go Tigers, go!
Oh, yeah.
So with COVID being a part of your schooling for grade 11 and grade 12, what has been, I guess, disappointing? What has changed for you in these past couple of years that you were really looking forward to?
Well, that's a large question. Honestly, if I'm going to be honest, the big thing was the social aspect. I mean, because every teenager thinks about when they're going to be a senior, right? How they're going to be kind of the oldest in the high school and be able to attend school driving themselves and leaving school driving themselves. But I mean, I really missed out on that this year, but it's all right. I tried my best to stay a part of the school, right, with student council and being active that way. So it's worked out, but it's sad, the social aspect that we're lacking this year. I know a lot of my peers are feeling it as well.
So what are some things that you've been doing to help make up for the social deprivation?
Well, a big thing is, I mean, social media is our only form of communication now, right? So it's been pretty popular communicating friends that way. Or, I mean, we try our best to do social distancing walks or where we wear masks when we're allowed. But, you know, it's pretty difficult. But let's just say FaceTime and Skype are pretty popular nowadays.
Nice. Yeah. Thank goodness for those. Thank goodness.
Yeah, seriously.
So what are some things that you have been, so other than the social aspect, what are some things that you've been doing to help keep your mental health state in a good place?
Yeah, well, I've definitely been doing a lot of home workouts. I know that's pretty popular, like on TikTok or whatever, and a lot of my peers are doing as well. But since the pandemic began, I purchased, you know, workout bands, the little weights, a yoga mat, little ways, because I found working out can really release endorphins and stress. So I think that's a good tip.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so I understand you had, because I asked you before the show if you had a tip for other students to help them to get through the rest of the school year. What is something that you've been doing every day to be able to assist you to get into the mood, to get in your online class and feel good and be ready to go?
Well, if I was to give advice to future students going into grade 12, it would be to Stick to a strict and productive routine that matches your class time schedule. This could incorporate waking up early, showering, maybe eating food, preparing for class, because I've found that waking up early, starting the day off fresh, you can focus on your day and your time and what's in front of you. You can prioritize your time and ultimately increase your productivity and participation in online schooling.
Nice. You sound so professional with that too. That is such awesome advice.
Thank you.
It is incredible advice. I find if I shower and I do my hair and I do my makeup and I wear something that I feel good in, I feel more productive.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like I'm ready to take on the day.
Yes. Another small tip I have, which a lot of my peers may disagree with, is try to have your camera on in your Google Meets. I think it shows respect to your teacher and your peers, and it makes you feel as if you're in the classroom environment, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's nice that you can see your other peers. It gives you a sense that you're actually at school, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so what are your plans for next year? So since you're graduating this year.
Oh, my plans for next year, I've applied and been accepted to Laurier University in Waterloo. So I'm hoping to go there next year and attend that I was accepted for a Bachelor of Arts majoring in English. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping we're all going to be vaccinated and COVID will be lifted maybe slightly, so we won't be in lockdown and trapped in our dorm rooms, but fingers crossed, right?
Yes. Will you change your plans if you would still technically be locked in your dorm room?
Honestly, I think so, because if I'm going to university for my first year, I'm a very social person. I want the social aspect, right? I want to be able to attend class and really be able to communicate with my professor face to face instead of through a screen. So I'm thinking if it's going to be all locked down, I may stay home and work full time. Because I work at the Canadian Tire in Uxbridge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I got an email today from Pat Higgins of Canadian Tire.
No way, Pat's the best. This is great.
I actually found out that you have a fairly good bike supply there.
Yes, we do.
All right. Well, a lot of parents have been looking for bikes either for themselves or for their kids. So I think that's really good to know.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so if anyone goes into Canadian Tire, you might see this beautiful smiling face, Chelsea, who will be able to help you out.
The cash.
Oh, is that what you do? You're in the cash?
Yeah, I'm cashier, or occasionally working outside in the garden center.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Well, I think it's such a great job. And Chelsea, thank you so much for your wonderful tips. It was wonderful to have you on the show.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me.
All right. So we'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Sometimes it's hard to say goodbye to an old friend. But when you're saying farewell to your vehicle, Kidney Car makes it fast and easy. Just call or visit our website. We'll take any vehicle in any condition and give you a tax receipt for a minimum of $300. No headaches and no towing charges. It's the one-stop solution for getting rid of your unwanted vehicle in just a few short minutes. When your vehicles reach the end of the road, call us toll-free or visit kidneycar.ca.
Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m., it's the Rtv Quiz. Giovanni Petiti hosts a weekly trivia competition that lets you play from the comfort of your couch. Play along at home and challenge your friends. And don't forget to follow along on social media. Let us know who's top of trivia, and you can find yourself featured on a future episode.
Are you kidding me, folks?
The Rtv Quiz, Wednesday nights at 7:30 p.m. on Rogers TV or at rogerstv.com/RTV Quiz.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. Now with me on the show is Heather Schwartz. Now, Heather, you went through some trying times with your husband when he was going in and out of the hospital.
Correct.
And you have a pretty amazing story to share. So through those struggles and trying to keep medical information all together and communication, because you weren't allowed to go in the hospital, right?
Correct. That's correct.
you ended up creating a really neat tool to use. So can you first talk about, just briefly, some of the hardships that you were having going in and out of the hospital?
Sure. Well, what happened was COVID, as you know, has affected everybody, but it's been especially trying to families who have members that are ill or family members that are senior, and they cannot accompany them to medical visits, and understandably why. And so to keep all the information straight and make sure that the medical staff received the information that they needed, I created a booklet which I call Medical Passport, which encompasses everything. And so as my husband was going through treatment, there was, it's known as brain fog or chemo brain. And so there's memory loss, which is really quite similar to Alzheimer dementia. And so he could not retrieve information out of his smartphone, and he couldn't remember a lot of the information that the staff was asking him or needed from him, especially in emergency situations. So I compiled everything, and it went in with him whenever he needed to go in. I waited in the parking lot for a phone call to do the discussion part of it, but the medical staff could retrieve what they needed and what I knew they would need at the time he would go into the emergency or clinic appointment.
So would you send the medical passport with him? So he would have this information with him, and the doctors could write information in it, send it back to him? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it basically gave them knowledge as to the types of medications he was on, the doses, how many times a week he was taking the medications, end of life wishes. It just had everything, pharmacy fax phone number, because that's a big one if they're going to prescribe something. They always ask you, what's the pharmacy fax phone number? And I also found that they were asking during treatment time questions that they looked to me for answers, and very quietly in the back of my mind I said, don't you know this stuff? But it was in the passport, so we never got into a discussion like that. But COVID really uncovered the fact that there are a lot of family members who really take care of their loved ones, their senior members of the family or members that are ill, and they know basic stuff about them because the way they take care of them is they drive them to appointments or they do the grocery shopping, but they don't know in an emergency situation what medications they would be on.
Or what dosages.
And dosages. So I created this, and our local hospital through COVID was amazing and is amazing. I give them credit for working with their, hands tied behind their back. And I want to say thank you. So I've created a fundraiser, which I'd like to start towards the end of June. It keeps getting delayed. And I would like to sell these medical passports. They're $10 each. You can find them at the Passionate Cook, the IDA, Pharmacy, Boyd's, Curves. There's some companies, businesses in Uxbridge that are helping to sponsor it, such as Williamson and other companies in the region, Homestead. And there'll be some information I'll be inserting in the passport about these companies that are helping to sponsor. And so if anybody out there in the region would like to, has a business and would like to sell them by their cash, I welcome it with open arms. The more we sell, the more for Uxbridge, our Uxbridge Hospital.
Wonderful. All right. So all the money will be going to Uxbridge Cottage Hospital, and they'll be able to buy them at any of those locations. And I guess as soon as stores are reopen, right?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm waiting for the stores to open so I can really launch this and get it seen through the region.
Beautiful. Well, I think it's a fabulous idea. I think it's a great gift for any senior or anyone who is needing to go in and out of the hospital. We might as well keep ourselves organized in that way. I think it's fabulous. And I'm so sorry with everything that you went through between you and your husband.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So it was wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
It isn't the heavy trays that make the job difficult, or the fast pace you need to keep up. It's not working another double because someone called in sick. What makes the job tough is the moment you realize a customer has had enough, and you have to make that decision not to overserve. Refusing service isn't personal, it's the law. We know it's not easy, but we're counting on you to keep us all safe. Thank you, servers, for doing the tough job.
I'm Jonathan Van Bilsen, and I've had the opportunity to spend my life traveling and photographing exotic locales around the world. Thanks to Rogers TV, I'm now able to share my adventures with you on my show, Photos and Travel, right here on Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Constable Darrell Rice, Durham Regional Police Service. Tune into Rogers Cable 10 to watch me on Seniors Talk with DRPS. But we'll talk about all kinds of amazing information and community programs for you, our seniors in Durham Region.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So that is a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. Now, if you're interested in getting one of those really nifty, well, very helpful medical passports, then you can contact Heather Schwartz. And we're going to have her email down at the bottom of the screen there. So hclaco@gmail.com. You can also call her, and the phone number is 416-837-2622. And here's Chewy. Chewy has said you probably want to get that medical passport to keep all of your information or your loved one's information in check there. Now, if you want to contact either Stephanie or Carolyn from the DDSB, you can check out their emails down at the bottom of the screen there. So we have stephanie.pellabor@ddsb.ca or carolyn.usher@ddsb.ca. You can also visit the website, and they keep that website up to date with all the current information, just so you can stay in the know about maybe how schools are going to shift or what resources that they have for you. So that website is ddsb.ca. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you contact me if you want to be on the show. I'm Jackie Herman, signing off.
Call the Rogers TV Viewer Response Line. Email us or connect with us on social media.
This 175-year-old portrait found a home here in early 2015. It contains a man of great relevance to thousands of residents right here in Durham. Bowmanville, previously Darlington Mills, consisted of a handful of settlers and was transformed by the man in that photo, Mr. Charles Bowman. Bowman saw no boundaries within his 300-acre purchase. He, at the helm of commerce and development, also influenced immigration.